Here's how I made this beat for Young Lean's Stranger 2. Before we get started, I just thought I'd mention I brought out a stash kit. It's available now on my Patreon. It's free for all of my Patreon members, or you can purchase it on Patreon or BeatStars. All of the drums that I used in this beat are in the stash kit. So for this melodic loop, I basically used a combination of the Shinju bank and a few synth presets that I built myself. Highly recommend getting the Shinju bank if you're looking to make this style of music. All the presets are like perfectly designed for this. So I started out really small with this one. The melodies in these Young Lean beats can be a little bit intimidating because there's so many like layers. Basically, I went with the chord progression 1, 7, and then 6. And I just started off with a 2-bar progression. I started out layering it with the 5th, and then I went to the 7th for the next note, which was actually the same as the root note. Then I went back to the 1. These are for the top notes. So yeah, just making chords. You don't always have to, do the 3rd and the 5th just to build like your standard chord. You don't have to know like augmented, diminished, or like sus chords or anything like that. Just do it by ear, work out what you like, what kind of sounds you like, and yeah, take it from there, because that's how I go about it, and I'm always happy with the results that I get. So the way that we've spaced out the chords as well, I find is really important to these Young Lean beats. So just leaving like enough space for there to be like little filler melodies in between. As you can see, I started off here and over here as well. The next thing that I started to do was layer some top notes and fill in the spaces where there was like gaps that I'd left in between the chords. So I grabbed this pluck along with this other pluck as well, and then also this bell that I designed. So all together they sound like this. Underneath that, I just layered the same chords using monopoly. I also had this melody layer just for the hook. On the actual synth bus, I used the J37. It's like a tape emulation plugin just to get that tape distortion sound that you hear often in Young Lean's songs. So I put that on the whole group. Then I also added it to individual elements and just kind of drove them accordingly so that they had their own suitable amount of distortion. So onto the drums. So I've just got a filtered clap just layered with a hi-hat. I wanted to keep the hi-hat just pretty simple because I knew that I was going to add some percussive snares in there. And here's how they sound. Still a fairly simple percussive layer, but I just used a few different elements just to make it interesting. Then I wanted to choose a different kind of sounding 808 to what Young Lean would usually use. Obviously, this is a future sounding like project, so I went with something different, but I also maintained like that Young Lean kind of like 808 rhythm. Initially, I had a kick in, but then I ended up just like muting it because it sounded like better without the kick with this specific 808. All right, so here's the beat. That's it for the video today, guys. As always, a huge thank you to everybody watching these. If you're interested in grabbing this Ableton project file, check out my Patreon. It's free for all members. My stash kit is also included in the membership. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.